interesting look at the story behind all this. Trace.
Hey, Martha, on the day Jesus Campos gave that interview to Ellen, we pointed out what appeared to be very cozy circumstances. The fact that MGM, which owns Mandalay Bay, where Campos works, is a big sponsor of the Ellen show, and how MGM has Ellen slot machines in all of its casinos. Now the Daily Mail is reporting that MGM wanted Ellen because they feared that Campos might not keep his story straight under a series of hard news questions. Certainly nobody is indicating that Campos wasn't truthful, but it's fair to point out that Ellen never asked him a single question about the most controversial issue, the timeline, which has changed 3 times. Police first said Campos diverted the gunman's attention, causing him to stop firing on the crowd, then said Campos was shot 6 minutes before the shooting on the crowd, finally saying Campos was shot within 40 seconds of the mass attack. Even the president of Campos' labor union is now acknowledging the MGM certainly had influence over Campos, saying, quoting here, "It certainly wasn't my choice that he should appear on that circus." The union president added that all sides had agreed to parameters for the interview, something news organizations should not agree to. The MGM has not commented.
Yeah.
Martha.
Well, they're going to have to answer to a lot of this before this is over. Trace, thank you very much. So here with more, attorney and conservative commentator David Wall. David, good to see you tonight.
Hi, Martha.
What do you make of the Ellen interview?
Well, I mean, in general, she's someone who tends to toss cream puffs and softballs to begin with. MGM allowed him to go on her show, I'm sure laying down strict parameters on the interview. And so they allowed it because they wanted the general public to see that they're not hiding or concealing evidence in this case. But at the same time, you can't ask him tough questions like you would have, like Tucker would have, like Sean Hannity would have. I mean, it would have been a deposition with you guys. You're brilliant interviewers. They can't have that at this time because this could well end up being the largest, most costly civil lawsuit in American history.
True. Oh, I want to play one soundbite from this interview. Let's play it.
Sure.
As I was walking down, I heard rapid fire, and at first I took cover. I felt a burning sensation. I went to go lift my pant leg up, and I saw the blood. That's when I called it in on my radio that shots have been fired, and I was gonna say that I was hit, but I got all over my cell phone just to clear that radio traffic for they can coordinate the rest of the call.
Yeah, and after that, the questions should be, David, and thank you for your compliment, but this is what I would want to know. Who did you call on your radio? Did you speak to someone at MGM, the head of security? What time did that call was placed? Then he says that he didn't want to, that he got on his cell phone to tell someone that he had been hit to clear the radio traffic so that they could coordinate the rest of the call, which is understandable. But who did he call then? Did he call 911 then? Or did he call MGM? And in my mind, the question isn't what time did Jose Campos make the call to the police, but what time did MGM make the call to make sure that the police were on their way? Because everybody wants to know what time he called, but I want to know who he let someone know that something was going on the 32nd floor. So what did that person do is one of the big questions here.
Absolutely, and it's critically important. Given the fact that there were 58 people killed and nearly 500 injured. I mean, the reality is, if it turns out that MGM or whoever was in charge of contacting the authorities, contacting 911, waited 5 or 6 minutes, that takes the case from negligence to gross negligence to possibly recklessness, which could mean punitive damages in this case in the billions.
I know. I mean,
that's
this
why
is such a tragedy, and that's the most important thing about all of this. But you do want to make sure that lessons are learned from it, so that anything that could possibly be fixed gets fixed. You know, I mean, but where's the 911 call? Is my other question. I mean, have you ever seen a crime where there's been a 911 call made and you don't hear? We haven't seen it or heard it. Where's the video?
Yeah, it ought to be released. This is a very common procedure. They release the 911 calls. I don't know why that hasn't happened. But from the Pulse nightclub, we heard them all. But here's the reality, Martha. The security in these casinos, as we all know now, is focused on stopping gambling cheaters. Well, guess what? That's all got to change now. Will there be magnetometers at the entrances of casinos? Metal detectors? It's all going to change, because if this ever happens again and it doesn't change in a casino, I mean, we all know what's going to happen with the lawsuits. It's a huge tragedy on multiple levels.
It sure is. David, thank you very much. Good to see you tonight.
Thank you, Martha.
Take care.
Great week.